The night Mark realized his life was about to change forever didn't begin with fireworks or fate. It began with a cracked phone screen, a half-cold cup of coffee, and his boss staring at him like he'd just unlocked a secret she didn't know she was desperate to find. Mark Harris was used to being invisible. A single dad of a 7-year-old boy named Leo, his days were a careful balancing act between school drop-offs, late deadlines, and quiet loneliness he never spoke about. So when his boss, Claire Whitmore, brilliant, intimidating, and very much out of his league, asked him to stay late one Friday evening, he assumed it was work. It always was. But instead of spreadsheets, Claire slid her phone across the desk and said, almost embarrassed, "Can you help me set up a dating profile? You're normal. I trust your judgment." Mark laughed under his breath, a sound that surprised even him. Normal. If only she knew how many nights he fell asleep worrying about bills, about Leo growing up too fast, about whether anyone would ever see him as more than a tired man with responsibilities. Still, he agreed, because he always did. As he scrolled through her photos, he noticed the careful distance in her smile. The way success had polished her life but stripped it of warmth. "You don't need to look perfect," he said quietly. "You need to look real." Claire watched him then, really watched him, as if noticing for the first time how gentle his voice was, how thoughtful his pauses felt. "What would you write?" she asked. Mark hesitated. Then he typed words that came from a place he didn't know he was opening. Honest words. Lonely words. Hopeful words. When he finished, Claire read the screen, her throat tightening. She swallowed, then looked up at him with a smile that trembled just slightly. "Why don't you just take me out instead?" The air between them shifted, soft, electric, dangerous. Mark's heart pounded so loudly he was sure she could hear it. He thought of Leo, of the gap between their worlds, of everything that could go wrong. "I'm not who you think I am," he said. Claire stood up slowly. "Neither am I." And just like that, two guarded lives leaned towards something neither had planned. They started small. Coffee after work, then dinner, then laughter that came too easily to be ignored. Claire learned about Leo, about bedtime stories and burned pancakes on Sunday mornings. Mark learned about Claire's past, about being raised to achieve, not to feel, about nights in penthouses that felt emptier than his small apartment ever had. But the world didn't stop testing them. Office rumors started whispering. Colleagues judged. Mark overheard someone say Claire was slumming it. Claire's board questioned her judgment. And worst of all, Leo asked one night, voice small and careful, "Is she going to leave like Mom did?" That question nearly broke him. Mark pulled away. He told Claire they needed to stop, that their worlds didn't fit, that he couldn't afford to hope. Claire didn't argue. She just nodded, eyes shining with unshed tears. "I understand," she said. "You're protecting your son. I wish someone had protected me like that." Weeks passed. Work became colder. Nights became heavier. And Mark realized something painful. Being safe wasn't the same as being alive. The night everything finally came together wasn't planned. Leo had a school performance. Mark almost didn't go. He was exhausted, defeated, but then he saw Claire sitting quietly in the back row. No makeup, no entourage, just pride in her eyes. Leo spotted her and waved. She waved back, tears spilling freely. After the applause faded, Claire met Mark outside under the dim glow of streetlights. "I'm not asking you to choose me over your son," she said softly. "I'm asking you to let me choose both of you." Mark felt something release inside his chest. Fear, maybe, or the belief that love had conditions he couldn't meet. He reached for her hand, this time without doubt. They didn't promise forever that night. They promised honesty, patience, growth. Months later, Leo laughed louder. Mark slept better. Claire learned that real success wasn't power, it was presence. And the dating profile? It was never finished. Because sometimes the right story doesn't begin online. Sometimes it begins when a single dad dares to believe he's worthy of being chosen, exactly as he is.